Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kayla and I'm going to be doing my April reading wrap up. I only read 4 books in April, which I think is fine. Like, I was traveling and I was in school. I didn't have the time. I was reading academic papers and being exhausted and being at a concert. So I think some months you don't read a lot because you're just in a reading slump, and some months you don't read a lot because you are so busy that at the end of the day, the idea of like turning your brain on again is just like unfathomable. So the first book I read was Rule of Wolves, which I've talked about in some other videos a little bit, but it is the second and final book in the King of Scars duology by Leigh Bardugo, and it is technically, like chronologically, the last published book in the Grishaverse, and she's implied that there are going to be more, and at some point, and the end of this book really sets up another one. So, but I think she, as an author, has been writing mostly in the same world for over a decade, and I guess deserves a break. I don't want a break, but I guess she does. But anyway, I can't really talk about the second book in a duology without spoiling the first one, but basically it takes place after the events of King of Scars, and the 3 main points of view are Nikolai, Zoya, and Nina. And Nina's still doing her stuff in Fjerda. I personally found that plotline the least interesting. I'm gonna get vaguely spoilery here. So you might wanna, I'll put a timestamp for when I stop saying what I'm about to say. But Nina and Matthias are my favorite relationship in the Six of Crows duology. I love them all for like almost equally, but like Nina and Matthias, I'm such a sucker for like right person, wrong time, like right person, not enough time kind of thing. So, and just kind of they're a little like Grumpy Sunshine-esque, which I find kind of endearing sometimes. And I'm not saying that Nina, she's 19 years old, obviously. I don't even think that Matthias was necessarily going to be the love of her life, but I did struggle with how quickly she moved on, but more importantly that the love interest had no personality. Like, if you want to make us care about another relationship, potential relationship, you've got to make sure that that person is like so interesting, and I just found them incredibly boring, like a cardboard cutout of a person. Like, it was all just about what Nina thought of them and very little about who they were. With everything that kind of happens with that person at the end of the book, I'm also just kind of like, where is this going? Like, this seems like a bad plan. But, you know, I don't know. I love Nina, and some of the stuff in here, like there was some elements of heist again and her being badass, which I really enjoyed. So, but I found myself, she's like my favorite character in the Grishaverse, and I found myself, when I would turn a page and it would be like a Nina chapter, I'd be like, ugh, which like isn't really what you want to be happening. But Nikolai and Zoya, everything. I was sobbing. Oh my god. Yeah, I think this book deals a lot more with political things. The King of Scars duology does in general, with ruling a kingdom and all of that kind of stuff. And I think some people are like, I don't know if I like these books because of that. Like, if you're not someone who's like into kind of fantasy political intrigue, then they're gonna be a little weird, like, but I like that. And I like a lot of the stuff with the saints I found really interesting, and yeah, I just thought it was really cool. And I love Zoya and I love Nikolai, and I think they are my favorite Grishverse ship. Sorry to everyone else, but they're everything to me now. Then, the next book I read was Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, which is the first book in the Infernal Devices. It's also the first book in the whole Shadow Hunters world, like chronologically. I know a lot of people say that you should start with kind of like the first couple of Mortal Instrument books, like City of Bones or whatever, but like that just didn't sound interesting to me. I didn't feel drawn to reading, is it incest or not? Like, you know, but, and I don't know, I thought like chronologically also kind of makes sense as a way to read the books. I don't know. There were points where I was a little confused because it was definitely like you were supposed to have like a little bit of knowledge of the Shadowhunter world, and I had nothing. Like, I haven't seen the show, I haven't seen the movie, like I know nothing. I came in knowing nothing, so I kind of learned along with Tessa, which I guess was fun, you know, like, but yeah, I've never read a Cassandra Clare book before. She was a little bit after my sister, I think, read a couple. My sister's like 3 years younger than me, so I feel like they were a little more like her age group. By the time they came out, I was already in college and not reading as much young adult. And then I also know Cassandra Clare from Harry Potter fandom, where I read a lot of her writing in Harry Potter fandom, and also there was a lot of drama around it, so I was like, when she became like a published author, I was a little like, ugh, like I don't know about this, but I really enjoyed it. I would say that it wasn't a book that when I wasn't reading it, I was thinking about, which made it take a long time to read it. I checked it out, I want to say at the end of February, and returned it like the end of April. My library just like kept emailing me like, girl, get a grip. But yeah, but I really enjoyed it. Tessa, I feel like the thing with having read Cassandra Clare's fan fiction is that I do feel like some tropes and writing markers or whatever, she has a very distinct writing style that has been true since she was writing Harry Potter fan fiction. So while she herself has said that like these characters are not based on Harry Potter characters or anything, I sometimes felt elements of them, like not necessarily in a bad way, but just I've always found that she, especially with female characters, has like 2 or 3 types of female characters she tends to mostly write, and then with male characters, especially in a love triangle kind of way, like they tend to be like a light and a dark. She's a big fan of that, which I know is common in young adult love triangles anyway. But anyway, enough about Harry Potter fanfiction. But the plot and the book and everything, like I had a really good time. I thought it was really interesting. I was very surprised by a lot of things that were happening. I couldn't predict some things. I wasn't really trying to predict things. I was just kind of having fun. But still, like I was actually like shocked by some little twists. Not some of the big ones, like everything with her brother. I was like, yeah, that wasn't super surprising. But yeah, and I am unfortunately a little bit in love with Jem, you know, not like me now as a 30-something-year-old, but I know I'm reading it and I'm like, oh my god, if I was 16 years old, I would like be printing out fan art of that boy and like putting it on my notebooks. Like, oh my god, like he's just and obviously Will is great too, but he's a little chaotic. Don't always. Sometimes I'm like, okay, we get it, you're so edgy. But you know, that's being 17. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really want to listen, like read the next one, but the audiobook is narrated. It has like 2 narrators, and one of them is someone who I don't want to listen to because they have been accused of sexual assault. So I can't really listen to the speaking voice of someone like that. So I guess I'm just gonna have to read it all physically. Like use my eyes. But yeah, oh, I don't even think I said what I rated. I think I rated Rule of Wolves 4.5 stars. I gave King of Scars 5, and I believe this 4.5. Sorry. And then I believe Clockwork Angel I gave 3.75. Yeah. Because it's like, it's almost a 4, but not quite. Some of the main Tessa is just a little, she's a little empty. It takes a little too long for her to really show her depth. Like, reading books isn't a personality trait. I say on my YouTube channel about reading books, but it's not a personality trait, it's a hobby. So, you know, but by the end of the book, I really loved her, and I'm excited. I feel like the books are probably gonna keep getting better. So I'm excited to read more. That's what like a 3.75 is. It's like, you almost got it, but like, there's room for improvement, you know? Then the next book I read was, let's see if I can get the glare to calm down. Night Sky with Exit Wounds by Vuong, which is his first like published poetry collection, and I really loved his book On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, so I'm like, I should read some of his poems. And poems, sometimes I get them and sometimes they're too much for me, but the way he writes poetry is for the most part very simple, and I can really like hear the flow in my head while I'm reading it. I usually like to take my time with it, but I read it kind of fast. I read it in like 2 or 3 days. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Let me see. I think my favorite poem was Someday I'll Love Ocean Vuong. I don't know, I just really like it, and now I'm reading the Time as a Mother, his other poetry collection. Just started that, but yeah, how do you rate poetry? Because some poems were a 5-star and some I was like, this is like a 1-star. So, you know, it was great. I loved it. I think he's a really good poet, probably one of my favorites after this experience and the couple of pages I've read of Time as a Mother. So I'm very excited to read. I just like the way his way with words is really just beautiful to me. It really paints a picture in my brain. Like, you know, some writers just make you really like see that movie in your brain, and like I find that for me with poetry, sometimes it just doesn't, and his did. So I was really happy about that. And then I ended the month with the very cozy graphic novel, The Tea Dragon Society, which, since I enjoyed like Sheets and Delicates so much last month, I was like, well, my brain is tired, and I feel like people who liked those really liked the Tea Dragon Society, and it was just so sweet. I didn't expect it to be like surprisingly like sapphic, like that was just like, and gay and disability representation, and I was just like, this is just so sweet. I really, really loved it, and it was so, the art was like beautiful. Like I feel like it's art that I would like put on my wall. Like I don't know if the artist like sells prints, but I'm gonna have to like find out because it's beautiful. And yeah, I just thought it was really sweet, and I know there's a couple more, so I just really liked it. I guess I'm in my like cozy graphic novel era right now. Yeah, I think it's nice sometimes to just have things that don't feel, I don't know, not everything you read needs to be like a literary masterpiece. Some things can be there to make you happy, and yeah, so I really enjoyed that. And right now I'm in the middle of 2 books, The Time as a Mother, that I've already mentioned, and I started Carrie Soto Is Back. I'm only like 60 pages into that, but I find with Taylor Jenkins Reid books, that's about where you start to determine if you like it or not, and I think I like it. So I have some, I'll get into it in like my May wrap up and everything. I have some problems with it, but that's not what this is for. This is for I'm excited about reading that book. Yeah, so I don't know what the best book, I guess ratings wise, the best book I read was Rule of Wolves, but the book I'm happiest to have read is The Tea Dragon Society. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video where hopefully I'll be reading more than 4 books.